Greetings and good tidings, Lafayette Lions. It's Miss Brady here, and today we are going to be reviewing our measurement unit to help us prepare for our quiz tomorrow. The first topic that we are going to review is area and perimeter. Area is the amount of space inside a two-dimensional object. So we might see keywords like cover or inside. When we are writing area, we are going to make sure that we use square units. I like to think area squarea to help me remember to use square units. Our formula for area is to multiply the length of our item by the width of our shape. So we have two examples here that Mrs. Herrera had completed with you. The first example is a rectangle that has 7 feet on one side and 5 feet on the other side. So it has a width of 5 and a length of 7. If my formula is to multiply my length times my width, I am going to do 7 times 5, which is 35 square feet. So after the feet, we could put a little 2, or we can write out the word square. The second example is a rectangle that has a width of 6 and a length of 2. So we would do 6 times 2, which would be 12 square feet. The perimeter of an item is the distance around a two-dimensional figure. So this could be a fence, a border, or the rim of an object, which is inside the word perimeter. It has the word rim right here. Our formula for finding the perimeter is to add all of our sides. So we have a rectangle here that is 60 feet by 20 feet, and we're going to go ahead and write 60 and 20 on the appropriate opposite sides so that we know what all of the measurements we need to add are. So we could do 60 plus 20 plus 60 plus 20, or 60 plus 60 plus 20 plus 20. The order will not impact our sum, but our perimeter is going to be 160 feet. With perimeter, since we're using linear units, we just say the unit. We don't have to say squared. The second example that we have is a rectangle that's 6 feet by 2 feet. So we add the opposite measurements in there as well. And then we have 6 plus 6 plus 2 plus 2, which is 16 feet. What I would like for you all to do now is to find the perimeter of the shape below. If you forgot how to find the perimeter, we can go back to our notes and we can see that in order to find the perimeter, I add all of the sides. So go ahead and pause your video, add all of these sides together, and then we'll come back and check our answer. All right, after we added all of our sides, we should have gotten 28 inches. 6 plus 8 is 14, plus 3 is 17, plus 6 is 23, plus 3 is 26, and we add that 2, which would make it 28 inches. Now let's find the area and the perimeter of this shape down here. It is a rectangle that is 6 feet by 2 feet. Go ahead and pause your video and find the area and perimeter. In order to find the area, I'm going to check back in my notes and see that it is length times width. So I would do 6 times 2, and I need to make sure that I use square units. So my area is going to be 12 square feet. I put that little 2 up there to show that it is squared. For my perimeter, I am going to add all of my sides, which would be 16 feet. 6 plus 6 is 12, plus 2 would be 14, plus another 2 would be 16. Sometimes with area and perimeter, we're going to have word problems such as this example. How many feet of fencing do you need to fence a rectangular yard that is 35 feet by 75 feet? When I have word problems like this, I like to draw a figure and label all of my sides to help me visualize what I need to do. So I have a rectangle here that is 75 by 35 feet. Now I see that it says fencing, and I'm going to look and I see that perimeter says that it is like a fence, and it's going to go around the outside, so I'm going to have to add all of these sides together. When I add all of my sides, I get 220 feet. My next word problem wants to know how many square feet, there's a clue right there, of sod are needed to cover a 45 by 12 foot rectangular yard. So I'm going to go ahead and draw my picture and put my measurements. And I can see here that it says square feet. If I go back to my notes, I see square units right here, which means that I'm going to have to multiply my length times my width to find the area. When I multiply 45 times 12, I get 540 feet squared. The next topic that we're going to review is weight and mass. Weight and mass are different. Weight is how heavy an object is and is determined by the gravitational pull on that object. The mass is the amount of matter an object contains. The mass will stay the same no matter where you are. The weight will change. So if you go to the moon, your mass stays the same and your weight changes because the gravitational pull on the moon is much less than what it is on Earth. Now, the tools that we use for weight are scales, balances, and kitchen scales. And the units that we use for weight, we have two different systems that we use. We have the U.S. customary system, which is what we use in the United States, and the metric system, which is what is used in the rest of the world. Our units for measuring weight in the U.S. customary system are ounces, pounds, and tons. There's 16 ounces in 1 pound, 2,000 pounds in 1 ton. In the metric system, the smallest unit that we have is a milligram, which is about a feather. The middle is a gram, which is about a paper clip or a dollar bill, and the largest is a kilogram, which is about a textbook. Now here is an example of a scale, just so that we can practice measuring scales. I can see that this is right between the 500 and the 700. The arrow is kind of cutting off this number, but this is going to be 600 grams. This scale is right here at that 800, so it would be 800 grams. Our last scale here is in pounds, and I can see that it's in between the 180 and the 190. So I'm going to count the little ticks to see that it's 181, 182, 183, 184 pounds. Sometimes we're going to have to estimate the weight of an item. So I have my cat Ash here, and we are going to estimate his weight. Would 12 ounces, 12 pounds, or 12 tons be the best estimate? If you said 12 pounds, you are absolutely correct. We will also need to be able to convert how many pounds into ounces or ounces into pounds, or sometimes even pounds into tons. If I have 3 pounds of oranges, how many ounces would that be? Well, if I know that there are 16 ounces in 1 pound, I would need to multiply 16 by 3 to find out how many are in 3 pounds. And that would be 48. Now, if I have 64 ounces of candy and I wanted to know how many pounds that would be, I would have to do 64 divided by 16, or I could count how many 16s does it take to get to 64, and that would be 4. Okay. Next, we're going to discuss capacity and volume. Capacity is the amount of liquid a container can hold, whereas the volume is the amount of space a liquid takes up. In the U.S. customary system, so the units that we use here in the United States are cups, pints, quarts, and gallons. In the metric system, we have milliliters and liters. In order to help us remember equivalents in the U.S. customary system, we can use King G. Inside King G, there are 4 quarts, and inside each quart, there are 2 pints, and inside each pint, there are 2 cups. So gallons would be used for the large units. Cups would be used for smaller items. So if I wanted to know the best unit to measure a pool, whether it would be cups or gallons, I can think a pool is really big. So I'm going to want to use a really big unit, which would be gallons. If I wanted to know the teapot, and this teapot says no, stand back. So that's a little throwback to the Revolutionary War. Pints is a little bit bigger than a cup, or gallons. Well, I think gallons would be way too big for a teapot, so it would probably be pints. And a coffee mug. So a coffee mug, whether it would be cups or quarts. And that would be cups because coffee mugs are pretty small. Now we're going to use big G to practice some conversions. I want to know if I have 12 cups, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, how many quarts that would be. So it would be 1, 2, 3 quarts. Next, I want to know 2 gallons. So I would need 2 of these guys to find out how many pints that would be. I can look inside of this 1 gallon and see that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pints. So if I drew a second gallon, I could do 8 times 2, which would be 16 pints. Next, I want to know 12 pints and how many quarts that would be. Well, I don't have enough pints here, but I do know that 2 pints equals 1 quart. So I could count by 2s until I get to 12, or I could do 12 divided by 2, which is 6. So 12 pints equals 6 quarts. 6 cups, 2, 4, 6 would be 1, 2, 3 pints. 4 pints, 1, 2, 3, 4 would be 2, 4, 6, 8 cups. 2 quarts would be 1, 2, 3, 4 pints. 16 cups, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. 16 is 1 gallon. And 2 quarts would be 8 cups. The last topic that we are going to cover is length. The length is the distance between one point and another. And we have a lot of conversions that you went over with Miss Okert. But we also practiced using a ruler to find the length of some items. Now we're going to measure this item to the nearest quarter inch. Remember, we need to make sure that our item is lined up either with the end of our ruler or with the 0. If there's a 0 on the ruler, it goes there. Since there's no 0 here, we'll go ahead and go to the edge. I'm going to count how many whole inches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 whole inches. And then the quarter of an inch is going to be my medium-sized line. I have a small, medium, large, and extra large. So I come to the 6 and see it goes to that first medium line. So it would be 6 1/4 inches. Next, I am going to measure to the nearest 1/8 of an inch. The 1/8 of an inch are these really small lines right here. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 whole inches, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 until I get to the end right here. So that would be 4 5/8 of an inch. Lastly, we are going to practice some conversions. So I want to know how many inches are in 5 feet. I'm going to go back to the notes that Miss Okert did the other day, and I can see 5 feet is, 60 inches. My answer is right there. Awesome. Next, I have 6 yards. Well, I don't have how many feet there, but I do see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 6 would be my next number. And I could count 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, and 18 feet equals 6 yards. 36 inches, well, I can come back to my notes again and see that 36 inches is 1 yard. And that 1 mile equals 1,760 yards. And that 48 inches equals 4 feet. Wow, my notes really helped to get all of these answers for the conversions, whether it was using the big G or using these length conversions here. So guys, those note sheets really will help you out. Okay, that is going to wrap up our review video for today. If you still have any questions or if you're confused by anything, please make sure that you reach out to your teachers for help. I know you all are going to rock the test tomorrow.